You know who made it.
Welcome back to 94 Feet, ladies and gentlemen. Real quick, I sound all right, Danny, because I kind of mixing up the location of where I'm doing this, right?
Yeah, you sound good.
All right, perfect. I was going to say it kind of sounds echoing here, but I just want to make sure. Yeah, like I said, welcome back to 94 Feet. It's great to be back. You know, we got the draft that happened last Thursday. We got free agency coming up later this week. So I'm going to say, even though the season's over, not the first time I've said it, but even though the season's over, we're keeping alive with the NBA news. So real quick, we'll get into a quick recap of the NBA draft, kind of just discuss what we think kind of was good, was bad. Who knows? Maybe if we get deep enough into it, give our draft grades. But that's whatever. Preview NBA free agency. Because I was going to say we've already seen a lot going on there, so it's going to be a good next few months, kind of seeing where players end up, and then of course fit of the week, and then of course with the draft we always get a nice just a nice amount of suits, a nice amount of outfits. So Danny and I are going to go through our best and worst draft outfits from this past draft and then all time as well. So Danny, let's get right into it with the 2022 NBA draft. I'm just going to keep it simple at first. Were there any like big surprises to you when it comes to this draft, or is there anything?
I'm a pat ourselves on the back. Hey, we both had the first three picks
I was gonna say,
in a row, right?
I think I may have had four because I got Keegan Murray, I think, going 4.
Oh yeah, you're right. You had Keegan Murray, and
I'll take it.
And then I think we also called Johnny Davis. We both called Johnny Davis to the Wizards, I want to say, and I think we both called Shaedon Sharpe to the Trailblazers.
That sounds about right. Because I was gonna say, yeah, okay, that's right. Because I think the order I had it was I had Benedict Mathurin to the Pistons. That didn't happen. Jaden Ivey went there. Jaden Ivey was gonna stay in Indiana with the Pacers, and then Shaedon Sharpe for the Blazers. So yeah, no, I think we put together a really good draft, little mock draft. So I mean, I got props to us for that.
Good for us. Yeah, well, any big surprises for you, Cade?
I wouldn't say necessarily anything big. Johnny Davis to the Wizards. I mean, as you mentioned, that seems kind of fitting. I think the biggest one out of the first 10 picks, I'd say, is probably Jeremy. I hope I'm saying this right, but Sochin, from Baylor. I mean, he was part of a championship team 2 years back, but at the same time, I don't know if there's really that much just hype around him to get him in the first top 10 picks. But I mean, who knows? Maybe the Spurs know something that the rest of the country doesn't, and he's going to be a good fit for the team. Again, I mean, playing in Baylor, he's going to be staying in Texas as well. It's pretty, I mean, I think pretty close. Waco, San Antonio. I mean, they're on the same side of the state, so kind of keep him close. Other than that, I mean, I feel like a lot of it kind of went pretty well. Maybe AJ Griffin falling a little bit farther down to the Hawks at 16. I think the biggest, I don't want to say a steal because I think he should have definitely gone higher. But EJ Liddell, I think that's what it was. I think I had you had Johnny Davis in the top 10. I had EJ Liddell going to the Wizards, not Johnny Davis. And he fell to 41 to the Pelicans, which I think was a big surprise right there. I think he's, again, a guy that I'm surprised he was slept on going to the draft because, I mean, the stats he put up at Ohio State with the experience he had, I think that's going to help a lot in the league.
I wasn't too surprised just because, I mean, 6'9" center. It's just he seems a little outdated. He had a good college career. I mean, I think that's why he fell in the draft. I was surprised he fell to the second round. I will say that. But yeah, I agree with you on that. The second round, that seems a little deep, but I'm not. At the same time, I'm really not too surprised. My biggest slip of the draft, you mentioned it earlier, was AJ Griffin, and I think he found a good home with the Hawks. Three ball. I forgot who they drafted out of Duke a couple years ago. Didn't really work out as that shooting guard /3. Hopefully AJ Griffin can slide in, stretch the floor for Trae Young.
Reddish?
Yeah, Reddish didn't really work out. Maybe AJ Griffin can. Another Duke player. But going back to that Sohan pick, Kate, it seems like this Spurs team, they're kind of just drafting high-end wings, and I kind of like what they're doing. It seems like they're kind of tanking. It looks like they're going to trade Keldon Johnson to potentially the Hawks. That's what it's rumored for. But if you just look through their roster, it's just all wings. I mean, Lonnie Walker, point guard, 6'4" point guard. Vassell, 6'5". Sohan, he's 19 years old, 6'9", I think 7'1" wingspan. They got a lot of size, and if they're tanking this year, they get that French dude. What do you know how to say his name, Gabe?
I have no clue.
But apparently he's like the best prospect since Anthony Davis, and if they tank for him, they'll have a solid roster. So it looks like there's a plan going on. You remember this team kind of started that tank for a superstar when they tanked for Timmy Duncan so many years ago, and they kind of built their roster around him. It looks like they're restarting that.
Yeah, no, I agree. It'll be interesting to see. And I mean, we saw it in the NBA Finals this year with obviously both the Warriors and the Celtics, kind of smaller teams that kind of work off that guard play and wing play. So I think that's kind of almost that new style of basketball. And I think the Spurs are kind of trying to adopt that, which is interesting because, I mean, of course, when you got a guy like Greg Popovich, you have the old saying, if you can't teach an old dog new tricks. But I think Popovich is kind of starting to lean into that and try mixing it up a little bit different. But I think honestly, there's no big surprises out of this draft, plain and simple. I think a lot of it was pretty consistent for what a lot of people had. I think there's maybe some players that you could have said could have been drafted later on that that could have been drafted later on that weren't even picked up at all, like Johnny Juzang. He's a guy that I'm surprised didn't end up in this draft class just because I think he was an absolute killer at UCLA. I was gonna say, I see you nodding there. I know you're a big UCLA fan, so you
had a disappointing sophomore year though. It didn't end the year too hot, so I'm not too surprised. But yeah, I
don't know. I was gonna say, I think he showed that talent. I mean, I think he could have at least been drafted, but at the same time, I mean, for any team to pass up, or for all the teams that passed up on him, for any team to actually pick him up in just undrafted free agent, that's solid. So.
Yeah, he went to he got picked up by the Jazz. He kind of fits he reminds me of Jordan Clarkson. So maybe it looks like they will find their next six man, maybe potentially. I don't know.
Hey, you never know. Also, I will say this too. I think I wish or wait, hold on. Let me just make sure I got this down. I wish that the Nuggets went with a guy like Nikola Jovic. I felt like that would have been perfect for the team. Got the Jokic and Jovic, both out of God, where Serbia. So
Yeah.
that would have been fun to see. Just have a little bit of a that little moment for the both of them. I think it would have been pretty funny. But yeah, outside of that, I mean, again, like I said, I feel like there's not really a lot of. It goes from kind of what I was saying earlier on, or at least last week. Just this draft. I mean, there's a lot of really good players in this draft, but you have those top three, top four, then it kind of falls off after that. You definitely have talent there, but past that, there's not too much, in my opinion, and there's not really a lot of just strong, big talent throughout the entirety of this draft. So that's part of the reason why I think that maybe that this was kind of a very straightforward, not really a surprising draft, but again, like I said, I mean, I feel like at the same time, usually with drafts like this, it doesn't really seem to be a massive surprise to a lot of people at the end of the day.
You want to move on to free agency?
Yeah, let's do it. I was gonna say it's free. I mean, free agency starting off hot. I mean, it hasn't even technically started yet, but we've got a lot of things going on already. Not exactly what a lot of people were expecting, but it's still pretty crazy to kind of see where things are at. Danny, do you want to? Which one do you want to start off with? Do you want to start off with Kyrie going back to the Nets, or you want to talk about how now the Lakers are out Kyrie and they're stuck with Russell Westbrook again?
Hey, we can start with the Lakers.
All right, let's do it.
It's been a rough 2 days for Laker fans. Okay, we're paying $145 million on the books next year, so we're already going to go into luxury tax, and that's only for 5 players. We're paying LeBron, AD, Westbrook. Let me pull it up real quick. Kendrick Nunn, who I believe didn't play a single game for us last year because of a bone bruise. A bone bruise took him out the whole
Out
year.
of everything.
And THT, who was supposed to be an up-and-coming piece, trade asset, but no one wants him anymore. Earlier yesterday, Kade, it looked like we were going to get Kyrie. Early Monday, reports were coming out. He was going to opt out of his final year, play for $6 million with the Lakers. But as that was happening, he realized no one wanted him besides the Lakers and Knicks. There was no other teams besides interest from the Knicks and Lakers. So no one wanted him, and then he goes, all right, so I guess I kind of have to opt into this final year. He signs for that $36 million. And then what happens later today, Cade? Westbrook is singing Beyonce in the car, and he's signing a $47 million final year on his contract for the Lakers. The second highest player in the league, and it's just not looking good for the Lakers. I don't know what to tell you, kid.
I was gonna say that's gotta be a huge, like, just a lot of salt in the wound right there. Real quick, minor 81. I gotta definitely agree with you there. The Lakers hat, not necessarily a huge fan of that one, but that's okay. I will let it slide. But yeah, no, I mean, you got to think you had the possibility of getting somebody like Kyrie Irving, and now you missed out on that because he opts back in with the Nets, and now you're stuck paying Russell Westbrook $47 million this year, which is, I mean, for somebody like Russell Westbrook, that is a very steep amount to be paying the guy. So that's got to be hurtful if you're a Lakers fan. I mean, I don't see him playing the way he has in the past. Like, I do see him having another repeat year with the Lakers where he's just not doing anything of significance for that team. And that's one of my biggest concerns with somebody like Westbrook staying with the Lakers. Like, I think if you bring somebody like Kyrie in, don't get me wrong, Kyrie has his issues. Like, that's going to happen no matter where he plays. I know a lot of people were saying that maybe Kevin Durant's going to kind of mellow him down and whatnot. Obviously not the case. I think Kyrie's now in his own position. You know what I mean? Back when he was at Cleveland, he had LeBron kind of watching over him. He kind of left that because he wanted to be part of his own team, went to the Celtics. Now he's with the Nets. Again, like I said, people thought KD may have been kind of toning him down. Obviously not the case. I don't see that happening with LeBron. I think it's going to be the exact same situation if he were to play in LA. But yeah, I mean, I was going to say that's got to be the biggest just thing is that if you're a Lakers fan right now, you were on the cusp of getting Kyrie Irving. That fell apart, and now you're stuck paying Russell Westbrook $47 million this year.
And like you said it earlier, Cabe, Westbrook's gonna play for the Lakers. I feel like they're not gonna find a suitor. A couple weeks ago, they tried to trade him, THT, and a pick for Malcolm Brogdon. Pacers turned that down. If the Pacers aren't gonna accept that, it's like who's gonna take Westbrook really? I know it's the NBA. Usually teams find a suitor for superstars, but Westbrook's one of those guys where it's like, I feel like no one wants that contract, and I feel like he's gonna play for the Lakers.
No, I think he's going to. I mean, it's weird because like you can't really say that it's the same thing with Kyrie about how nobody wanted to get him, but it's the difference though is that if Kyrie's actually on the court, Kyrie's going to produce and he's going to play what good basketball. But that's not necessarily the case with Russell Westbrook anymore. I mean, you don't really have that same production out of him. So of course, I mean, you've got a guy like Russell Westbrook who, again, he's. I mean, I think this is a word that would be maybe like kind of not the right word to throw out in the past, but now you kind of have to say it. But you got a guy like Russell Westbrook who's washed. He's not the same way he was anymore. And it just plain and simple, that Lakers team is not set up in a way to win at all. I mean, they might sneak into the play-in team this year, but that's about it, especially because of how strong the West seems that they're going to be getting this year. So it's going to be really interesting to see.
We'll see what Ham can do, but let's move into some news that happened earlier yesterday, Cade. The Los Angeles Clippers, even worse for Laker fans. The Los Angeles Clippers picked up John Wall. You might hear John Wall washed. He hasn't played in like 2 full season in 3 years, something like that. Cade, I really like this move. Before this move happened, I had the Clippers as my favorite to win the West, and I mean this kind of just solidifies my pick. I mean, I think this makes them finals favorites.
Yeah. Real quick, I do want to hop back to Kyrie real quick. Just quick comment about that. Last thing I was going to say is that he did opt in with the Nets, but I think there's still a possibility that he has an option to possibly be traded somewhere else. So that's an option. That's a possibility right there. So Kyrie, even though he's with the Nets right now, might not stick around. We'll have to see. I mean, as the Nets said, they're 100% willing to lose both Kyrie and KD. So we'll have to see how that all plays out. Honestly, I mean, hearing the news a little bit, a lot of people were hoping KD was going to the Suns, so I just got to cross my fingers with that one. But yeah, okay. But yeah, going back to John Wall, yeah, I think John Wall, this is a fantastic position for John Wall to be in. Obviously, he was producing when he was playing in Washington, had his injuries here and there. The Achilles injury was kind of that last thing that kind of sent him out of Washington to Houston. Houston, I mean, let's be honest here. I don't think anybody's really wanting to play in Houston right now, so I can't really see. I'm willing to kind of toss away the past few years for John Wall, just because again it's Houston. I don't think he obviously didn't have the motivation to play there, and I don't blame him at the same time. And now you have him playing for the Clippers, which again, like I said, I think this is a very solid move for that team. I don't think John Wall is washed. I think it just over the past few seasons, rebounding from injury and trying to get back into it. I think you can possibly even argue that with the way that Kawhi played in his last year with the Spurs. Obviously had his injury, had that time where he was sitting out with the Spurs. He got traded to Toronto, obviously made an impact right away right there. I'm not sure if it's going to be on that same level, but again, like I said, it kind of has that same feeling where John Wall wasn't playing. He's going to a new team now, and I think that optimism is really going to benefit him in the long run because now he's playing along two superstars. And realistically, the the Clippers were kind of able to get away with like a pretty good deal right here just because you're talking about a guy like John Wall, who's I feel like kind of been overlooked over the past few years just because of that lack of playing time. But now you're, like I said, you're adding a very reliable guard onto a team with Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. Yeah, I think.
I mean, not just guard. I think what's important is that they're finally kind of adding like a true point guard. That first year, and I think it was like 2018, whenever PG and Kawhi first teamed up, their starting point guard was Pat Bev. Not really like a floor. They've never really had a floor general. If you remember when they blew that 3-1 lead to the Nuggets, it's really because they didn't have like anyone to bring the ball up. Like no one wanted to like close the game. I mean, you could blame Doc Rivers, and they did, but they bring in Ty Lue, top 5 coach in my opinion in the league. Second year with PG and Kawhi, they take the Suns down. Or no, they take the Suns to 6 games without Kawhi. They beat the Jazz without Kawhi. They still don't have a true point. They're running PG. I feel like Reggie Jackson's more of like a 2-guard disguised as a point. And then this past last year, they were a half away from making the 8th seed. That's with Paul George missing so much time. with injuries, and then they didn't make the playoffs because PG got COVID that last game. If you remember, Kawhi pretty much missed all year. But this team is stacked, Cade. Like, they got the height, they got the wings. Now they finally have a floor general and Paul George. 3 years in a row. I know it was a long time, like 2015 to 18. He was averaging 10 assists a game. But they got Norman Powell. He's 15 points a game. Luke Kennard, he can stretch the floor. Robert Covington, 3 and D. I mentioned Reggie Jackson, solid 2 guard. I feel like he's capable of winning 6th man of the year. Zubac down low, solid big man. I want to say 10. He'll give you 10 and 10. What more can you ask for? You still got Terrence Mann. He dropped a long time ago, 39 points in a playoff game. And then I didn't even mention Marcus Morris. Like, he's another 15 points per game. This team is kind of stacked, Cade. I mean, I really don't see them. If they don't stay, the only way they won't make the playoffs, I'm going to say it now, the finals, is if they don't stay healthy.
Yeah, no, that's the biggest key right there. And I want to say, Terrence Mann, that was a Game 6 win against. I think it was Game 6. It was a Game 6 win against the Jazz. Yeah, where he came back, led that team back to victory, and secured the their spot in the Western Conference Finals right there. But yeah, health is going to be the biggest thing. I mean, we've seen it consistently throughout that team's history when it comes to Kawhi, PG. Obviously, Kawhi has been dealing with a lot of injuries in this time as a Clipper. PG hasn't stayed healthy the entire time. You have obviously, John Wall coming in, who hasn't been healthy. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that all plays out. I think, again, like I said, if this team stays healthy, and even then, we saw it last year where they were out Paul George and they were still doing decent. They weren't putting together bad stats. So, again, like I said, or as you said, and I'll agree with you right there, if this team stays healthy, yeah, you're talking about one of the most dangerous teams in the league. And I mean, it's going to look scary, but I mean, it's basketball, the West. I feel like the West is always one of those conferences that really gets that attention when it comes to building up over in free agency. Like, I feel like that's where all the moves are happening. That's where all the attention is. But again, like I said, and I mean, there's plenty more free agents kind of moving around in the West. I mean, you got somebody like DeAndre Ayton, who's or the Suns had an option to sign him again. They don't want to give him the 5-year max, and now he's going to go into free agency.
That's going to be a massive one. Mr. Suns fan?
Oh, geez. I heard Charlotte, and I think that would honestly be a really good fit for DA. I think, Charlotte would be the best guess. I think one thing that I heard that I thought could have been really interesting was that somebody had mentioned on Twitter that the Suns were possibly interested in trading away that Cam Johnson to the Pelicans for the 8th overall pick. And that in that situation would have cleared up some cap space to re-sign DA. I don't know. I think the Suns are going to end up kind of having to bite the bullet, re-sign DeAndre Ayton, and lack a deep bench like they've had over the past few seasons. But Charlotte's an option. I think he could possibly end up.
I've been hearing Atlanta also. I know John Collins is on the move.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think somewhere in the East, especially just in that southern region, I think that's a possibility. But I mean, Zach LaVine's another big one. I think he's going to stay with the Bulls.
All signs are pointing to the Bulls. I just heard that what's really holding back the Bulls is LaVine wants the 5-year. The Bulls want to give him the 4-year because I think it's ankle injuries or knee injuries he's been dealing. Plus, he doesn't play like a defense. But I think he's going to re-sign with the Bulls.
Yeah, I agree with that one. Bradley Beal, we talked about that one during our draft show. That could be a really interesting one too, because they signed Johnny, as you mentioned. You thought the Wizards were going to go with Johnny Davis because they kind of had given up on Bradley Beal and they knew that he was going to want out. Obviously, they signed Johnny Davis, so now there's a possibility that Bradley Beal is actually going to be leaving the Washington Wizards. I mean, he's got the player option, so I think. He's going to kind of step away, look for a new contract.
The latest report actually is the Wizards they're expecting him re-sign for 5 years on the max, Cade. But
I mean, hey, if he's making the money,
does that really mean anything? We've seen so many times where superstars sign that max and then they'll just request to get traded. So I agree with you. Not out of the possibility that Beal just signs that max and requests a trade.
I mean, that's a possibility. I mean, if he's securing that bag, why not? I mean, it could be interesting, though. I think Washington, I mean, you saw it when Russell Westbrook was with Washington. They're not really too far off from being a playoff team. I mean, if they can find somebody else to kind of bolster that team and make it look a little better, you're talking playing maybe for that team. I mean,
Yeah. I mean,
I
they
think there's
got
that possibility.
Roy Hachimura is not a bad player. Kuzma's not bad.
Exactly.
Who else? Thomas Bryant, if he's healthy, he's a solid center. They got pieces, but it's like Beal, does he really want to be an 8th seed again? Like, it's time for him to compete for a chip.
Yeah, no, I agree, and it would be interesting to kind of see where he would end up if he does get that trade. But even then, like if he does re-sign for that 5-year max, he gets traded. At least he's putting Washington in a position where they could kind of they're not necessarily just losing out on a superstar and trying to find like just pretty much restart from there. Like there's a good chance that they can kind of see what else is available with a Bradley Beal trade that kind of helps them in the long run. Obviously, I think like it would point to getting some draft picks, maybe some young stars on another team, and kind of trying to develop a new and young core. But at the same time, I mean, it's for somebody like Washington, I don't think they are really expecting to keep him, especially if he does request that trade. So it'll be interesting to see how that all plays out. James Harden is another one that's big on that list. It'll be kind of interesting to see where he might play. And I think that's actually one that could be really interesting because I feel like there's, at least in my opinion, I mean, he could end up on any team and I wouldn't be surprised at this point.
James Harden?
Yeah.
Oh, man, what is James Harden going to do, bro? Like, it's like it didn't work out in Philly. I guess Embiid wants to run it back with Harden.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see how that plays. I mean,
Who
I'm not
knows?
saying it doesn't work, but I don't know. It'd be interesting to see how that plays out.
I don't think it's gonna work. I don't know. I think Harden. I think he's past his prime. His time is up, and I don't know. I don't see Harden pushing for a chip anymore. Like even just a couple years ago.
Yeah, no, he's definitely not pushing as hard. I mean, it
Yeah.
looks like he's trying to get that help. But at the same time, though, I think put Harden on the right team. I think there's a possibility that something working out. It's just a matter of if you're putting him on a team that can still win without him. Because again, that ability to play isn't there, that drive isn't there, and even then, he still deals with injuries here and there. So that's
Yeah.
going to be a big difference.
Last I saw was the Sixers they need Harden to sign like a 3 or 90 million, so they're gonna need him to take a pay cut if they want to keep like that roster together, and we'll see if Harden's willing to do that. I think he's 33 now, past his prime. Unfortunately, I don't know. It looks like he's been eating a little too much. His play just wasn't there in the playoffs. We'll see if he wants to win, he's gonna need to sign that discount.
I think so too. I think that's kind of really, if he wants to win a championship, that's the best opportunity
Yep.
because I think the Celtics, why I keep saying the Celtics, the 76ers, they're a solid team if they get that bench help. I think they lost a lot of that when they traded away Ben Simmons, but like I said, I think if they get that bench help and they kind of work with something there, I think there's a good possibility that they can win still. It's just, and especially the conference like the East, I feel like obviously you still have teams like the Bucks who are going to look really good. The Heat are going to look really good next year, but I think there's still like an opening for a team like the 76ers to kind of push through. So I think, again, like I said, if Harden is able to is willing to take that pay cut, maybe even a little more of one just to kind of help develop a good bench. Again, like I said, I don't think that's necessarily out of the equation quite yet. I heard it today, but Jalen Brunson, I mean, he's one of those top free agents, maybe not up there with the free agents, but like he's up. I mean, he's still one of the
Well,
top
what's
ones.
interesting, Kate, is you said he's not up there with the top free agents. The Knicks are prepared to offer him a max contract, 4 years, over $100 million. Kate, I just think this is what desperate teams do. Jalen Brunson, a nice player, but what is he? A top 50 player in the league? Is
I'd
he?
say so.
No all-stars, no all-star appearances. He averaged 16 points per game. Nice player, don't get me wrong, but it's not like he's going to be the number one on the Knicks. They still have RJ Barrett. They still got Julius Randle, and they're going to give Brunson a max contract. I know it's not the 5-year, but still 4 years, Cade.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing that's going to come out of this is that if that does go through and Brunson does sign with the Knicks for that 4-year max contract, first off, it's not something that a desperate team does. It's something that the Knicks do. Like, I mean, I feel like that's a very typical Knicks thing to do. But I just feel like in this situation, it's going to be really interesting to see how Jalen Brunson plays when he's not necessarily under the light of a superstar. Obviously in Dallas, he had Luka to kind of play under, and he wasn't necessarily going to get all that attention, but he was still recognized as a great role player on that team. Now you're talking about moving to a team like New York, where Julius Randle had a fantastic 2021 season, kind of fell off in 2022. Same thing. RJ Barrett actually did pick it up. I liked his playing style last year. I thought he did pretty good. But again, a lot more of that emphasis is going to be on Jalen Brunson. So it's going to be really interesting to see that while maybe he might not be that team leader, he's still going to contribute a lot more than what he did when he was playing in Dallas. And I think that could be really interesting. Now, of course, I think if Dallas wants to stay in the race for possibly going to the Western Conference Finals again, maybe to the NBA Finals, they have to get a guy like Jalen Brunson or better. I feel like they can't necessarily short sell themselves at a guard position. So I think it'd be smart for Dallas to kind of push for that. But at the same time, I mean, Jalen Brunson, I would take that 4-year deal if it means going to play in New York, even if my playing style isn't fantastic out there, or it doesn't mean I'm quite ready for it. I take that money still.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
But of course, like I said, I mean, Dallas, I think, would either have to try their best to kind of get him back, or at least find somebody in the free agent market, or even maybe trade for somebody. You never know. To kind of fill that void that Jalen Brunson would be leaving. Even though it's not a big one, it'd still have to be one.
They were paying him $2 million a year, and he gave them 16 points per game last year. They are getting Tim Hardaway Jr. back, so that'll help out. But I agree with you. I do think they need to bring someone in, to, that can play with Luka really, and we'll see who that is.
Exactly. So it'll be fun. But I mean, that was the tip of the iceberg when it comes to free agents. I mean, there's plenty more that are going to be really interesting to see. And I mean, like I said, I think it's 6 p.m. on Thursday. I might be 3 o'clock for us, or 4, something like that. End of the day, it's on Thursday, July 1st. Towards the end of the day, things are going to go absolutely crazy. Then that's when things are going to really pick up. And again, like I said, we were just talking about free agency. Trades could obviously be involved with this. It could be a lot of really interesting stuff. So we'll have to see how things go from there. Danny, do you want to do fit of the week right now?
Go first. I don't have it yet.
All right, for sure. I sent it over to you if you want to take a look. I'm sticking with the draft when it comes to this. I think there's a lot of really good suits in this year's draft. I mean, Paolo Banchero kind of stealing the show with his bedazzled jacket. We'll get into that in the next segment. But for my fit of the week, I'm going with the guy drafted 10th overall, Johnny Davis. I think he had the best outfit for this draft. I thought it was very nice, very classy, kind of going with the all red, playing at the University of Wisconsin, kind of going back to his home team colors and whatnot, and then keeping it classy with just the cursive J right on the chest. I think that's a solid look for him, and I don't think you can really pass up on that. Like I said, there's plenty of really good jackets. I just thought this was my favorite, personally my favorite in this draft class, and maybe even, in my opinion, one of the better ones in recent memory as well.
Can I go with Christian Braun's mom as fit of the week, Kade?
Wait, hold up. Show me real quick. Send it over.
No, I'm kidding. You look it up. but my fit of the week, I wasn't gonna go with the draft, but I feel like I have to go with the draft. This was gonna be my top 3. You saw it?
Yeah. Hey, shoot, I would do too. I'd pick that as my fit of the week too.
All right, fit of the week. I'm going Jeremy Sohan. We mentioned him earlier. Bleached hair, got the purple suit with the chains. Got the boots down low. I mean, this is just a fire fit here. I'll show it on screen right here.
All right, I'll send it over to you. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, this got to be my fit of the week for sure.
All right. Hey, and just as usual, hop on Instagram, Twitter, vote for fit of the week. I think I'll get that out by tomorrow afternoon. But yeah, go vote for fit of the week. I was gonna say I won last week, so I mean, I'm not sure exactly. Are we gonna do any type of punishment for this one since it's the summer? Or do you want to just kind of wait for that punishment for when it gets to the fall semester?
We can wait. We'll just wait a month. It's not too long.
Yeah, exactly. That's not too bad. But yeah, bonk bearded horsey. Yeah, you're not wrong. But yeah, no. So yeah, like I said, Instagram, Twitter, we'll have that up tomorrow. Go vote on the Instagram story, Twitter polls, whatever you want to call it. We'll be good. But all right. Hopefully you're ready for this one. We got best and worst draft fits. We'll start off with this draft in particular. We won't really go too deep into it, but for the all-time one, how many do you have for the all-time one? Because I picked 3 of my best, 3 of my worst, and I plan on kind of discussing all of them.
Same.
Okay, perfect. All right, we'll start with this draft, though. I had mentioned it earlier. Paolo Banchero, I think he kind of stole the show with his suit. I mean, overall, very interesting. I wouldn't necessarily say it's one of my favorites all time, but at the same time, I mean, he definitely pulled it off. It's definitely one of the more memorable suits over that's going to kind of come out of these next few years.
I think, in my opinion, a little too much going on. I don't think it's in my top 3, but clean outfit. I like how he's going all out there, but in my opinion, not my style. I wouldn't put it in my top 3.
Yeah, I mean, I like it for this draft. I think it's one of the better
Okay.
ones for this draft. But I think in general, yeah, top 3 all time, definitely not. I mean, oh, I saw. Okay, I see the one you're rocking with for fit of the week. That one's solid. He's got to look
Right.
good,
So that's also in my top 3 for favorite drafts. One that I'll throw out there, Ben Matherin. I mean, he had the Paisley.
That's a good one.
What brand is that? Dolce and Gabbana Paisley suit. With the I don't know what type of boots. They look like some sort of Chelsea boots down low. And then on the inside of the coat, he's got pictures of his brother who passed away a couple years ago. Fire suit. It means a lot to him. And in my opinion, top three of the night.
I like that. Tari Princeton, or not Princeton, Tari Eason. I mean, that's one. He played out of LSU, but the all green with the black accents. You got the chain. I mean, that's a solid look right there. I'm a big fan of that one. Who's okay? Hold up, I got to figure out who this one is. It doesn't say. Dang it. There's a lot of other really good ones here as well. I'm just trying to kind of pick those out.
Oh, okay. I like that. That Tari Eason one that I'll throw out there is what's his name? Jalen Duran. He got the maroon suit on. It's just a clean look, Kade. I don't know if you can see it on my screen, but it's just a clean look. It looks like he's got the Louis sneakers down low. He's got the collar popped a little bit. With the pink shirt underneath, pink handkerchief. Top 3 suit in my opinion of this draft.
All right, I like that. Hey, also real quick, how do you feel about flared pants when it comes to like suits? Because Jalen Green, hold up, yeah, Jalen Green. I know this isn't this isn't something that's coming out. I mean, not recent. This was last year, but still, I mean, I just saw this recently. I mean, that's sick.
Kade, that's a top 3 draft outfit in my opinion of all time.
With the flared pants?
Flared pants, yeah.
I would say it's a good look. All right.
I like how he pulled it off.
I would say real quick, I gotta ask this too, since we're talking about this draft outfits. Where do you think Chet Holmgren gets his pants? Because I mean, there's no way like he's like for me, like I'm a skinny guy. I'm fairly tall. I'm 6'6". Like it's not easy for me to find pants, whether it's just not like the right length or whatnot. The fit around the waist isn't right. Like it's not easy for me. So for a guy like Chet Holmgren to be as skinny as he is and as tall as he is, that's got to be difficult.
Hey, shout out to Chet. He pulled off a clean look. What'd you think of the dice chain? Did you see that number 7?
I did. I like it. I was
because he's betting on himself.
Yeah, I like it.
It sounds like he's talking all that smack,
dude.
He came out with a quote after he got drafted. He was like, "The NBA better get ready for me." And I was like, "Hey, Chet, slow down a little bit."
There's 2 quotes that I got to talk about. First off, I'll talk about Chet's. This was probably like a few months back when they were kind of just getting back into like maybe it was during March Madness. They were talking about who their favorite like NBA players were. And like everybody had like actual real answers. And Chet was like, yeah, like me in 2 months, I'm going to be my favorite NBA player. And it's like, okay, like good for you, I guess. Obviously that's fantastic. You're definitely betting on yourself. But I feel like at this point, he's playing the role a little too much to be like, oh yeah, like if he ends up being a dud, that's going to be a terrible look on him. And then Ben Matherin coming out with probably one of the most bold tweets, or not tweets, but comments of the night. I mean, I gotta pull this up real quick. This was a like,
what did he say?
All time, just like like for a rookie to say something like that is insane. Let me pull it up real quick. It was, oh my gosh, this was a few days ago. There's been so much sports stuff happening that I gotta find the right one. But let me just talk about something real quick.
Okay, as you're looking for that, I'll go into everyone likes bad outfits, right? Okay, you want to hop into our top 3 worst NBA draft outfits?
Dude, start with top 3 best. Why not?
Okay, we'll start with best. Okay, I mentioned it earlier. Jalen Green from last year. We got the flared pants, sneakers down low. He just pulls it off. I think it's just the vibe he gives off. He's got the necklaces, rings. It's not really it's not a traditional suit at all. Definitely something I kind of want to get into. There's a picture. I'll flash it on the screen for our
And also
viewers.
send all this over to me so I can get that out on the socials too.
Yeah, got you. I'll send you all these things that I got. My next favorite suit is who is this? Hold on one sec.
All right. Also, I got
Okay.
the quote real quick. Ben Mathurin on being, I don't know what the question was, but he was talking about LeBron. His quote was, "A lot of people say he's great. I want to see how great he is. I don't think anybody is better than me. He's going to have to show me that he's better than me." So
Hey, Rook.
that's a bold statement.
Mathurin said that.
Yeah.
He's going to the Pacers,
Bold
man.
statement.
Who does he think he is?
Yeah, exactly.
These
Bold
rookies
statement.
crack me up.
Yeah, it's not good. We gotta watch out on those.
Another top suit of all time for me. Cade, in my opinion, he's the best dressed player in the NBA. I got to go with Shy. I mean, just look how he pulls that off.
Yeah,
it's just a suit I've never seen before. You got the floral print all over, no show socks, just a clean outfit. And then honorable mention before I give my third favorite is the Mo Bamba suit from a couple years ago. Got the spider webs on the suit with the off whites down low. I don't know. AK, where does he get his suit? Mo Bamba, I don't know.
Yeah, that's
he's got
another
like
good
long
one.
legs. And then kind of a sleeper, Kai Jones, kind of Miami vibes. I don't know. I really like the suit. It just looks really comfy. Pink suit. It's got the flamingos on the inside of the jacket. That's my top 3 favorite draft suits. What about you?
All right, I like those. You picked up one of my. I mean, you had it as an honorable mention. I think it's one of my favorites though. Was that Bol spider jacket? I want to say. Let me find the actual. I think if it's from the brand I'm thinking it is. There's a brand that puts that out. God, what's it called? Spider Worldwide. I think
really
okay. Yeah, I think that's because I know Bol's big on them, so I'm assuming they're the one that put out the jacket or like at least made it for him. So I think that's definitely up there as one of my favorites. One of my favorites, I got to give credit to an older style that I think actually turned out really well. Jalen Rose back in '94 when he was drafted.
It's the red suit, right?
Yeah, he put together a good suit with that one. For '94, style's not really hidden there, but that one's good. And then
at the time, people actually thought it was a terrible outfit, and he was getting clowned at the time. Like he was getting called one of the worst draft suits of all time. But look at how the tides have turned, and we both like it as one of our favorites.
Yeah, exactly. It's a solid look for sure. And I think also one of my favorites has got to be Tyrese Halliburton. I think he put together a fantastic suit with the floral and whatnot. Like that's a good looking suit. I got to say for sure. I like that one. But yeah, okay, let's go into our worst, Danny. What's your worst so far?
All right. Oh yeah, I just looked at that Tyrese suit. That is pretty fire.
Yeah, it is. I like it.
I'll go with I'm rocking the Lakers hat, and so was Peja Stojakovic on draft night. Kate, what is this? What is he wearing? This literally looks like something, some mafia uncle would wear in like the 60s. I mean, baggy pants. They're not even ironed. Like, how are your pants not ironed on draft night?
Yeah, it's a bad look.
And the tie's not even tucked in all the way at the top. Like the tie's not even centered. He's got like a look. It looks like that belt looks like it was like $15 belt. The brown belt. I sent you the picture. Okay,
it's not good.
That has to be one of the worst outfits I've ever seen in my life. And then shout out to this isn't like a bad suit, but the fact that what's this guy's name?
Kevin Knox.
Kevin Knox, yeah. Kevin Knox has a Fortnite suit. Okay, when I saw this, I thought it was fake. Like I actually thought that was like edited picture, but he actually had a Fortnite suit on the inside. Not a bad look, but the fact that he has Fortnite on the inside of suit, I have to put that in my top 3 worst suits. And then this is in no particular order. My third one, Tim Thomas, the 7th pick in the 1997 draft. Looked like he just picked out a suit from Goodwill and just threw it on. It's like super baggy. It looks like he didn't even get it tailored on. And then it's just I don't know. He doesn't look confident. It doesn't make him look good. Like, okay,
He's
the
got his
suit's
like
supposed
shoulder
to make you,
slouch too, which doesn't make him look
yeah,
too good.
yeah. Suits are supposed to make you feel good. I mean, it just didn't work for him.
Yeah,
What
no,
you got?
I agree.
I'm
All right.
interested.
I'll admit you picked one of mine. I was 100% going Kevin Knox with the Fortnite suit. That's just, dude, that's so bad. Like, especially like, here's the thing: if you're gonna like show up to the league and like make an instant impact like that, that's one thing. But he got drafted by the Knicks, did absolutely nothing for them, and now he's a nobody. I mean, he was supposed to be one of those big guys out of Kentucky, and it never worked out. So that was bad. So for the first one, I'll go with one that's a little bit controversy. I think the style itself isn't terrible, but I just don't think he pulled it off well, and it might just be because of the guy it is. But Trae Young wearing the suit with the shorts, like again, like I said, I
I
think
was
that
thinking
suit
about
has
that.
potential, but it just again maybe just where the shorts cut off. I don't know. Like, and LeBron's done something very similar too, but LeBron pulled it off. I'll give you that one, but I don't know. Just yeah, Trae Young wearing this one. I'm just not a huge fan of it. It's not my
The
favorite.
difference between the LeBron one and the Trae Young, and if I remember correctly, Trae Young went with like the no show socks,
Yeah,
and he's showing off the skinny calves, and I don't know, it just doesn't look. It looks awkward. LeBron had the long socks, if I remember correctly, and
yeah.
yeah, like you said, LeBron pulled it off way better than Trae Young.
Yeah, it might just be his build. I think the sock stuff they play a role, but it's not a good look for him, especially on draft night. That's when everybody's going to remember your suits. So not good. All right. So the next one I got though, yeah, Trae Young was a bad one. Drew Gooden though. Oh my God, this one's not fancy at all. I mean, going with that early 2000s style, but just again, not a good look.
He got the trench coat, Cade.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, and it's weird too because it's like you can say like it's not a trench coat, obviously, but it's like it's way but it's a weird look. It just don't work out. Um and then obviously I'm giving my last pick, my number one pick to entire draft class, not even just one player, but entire draft class.
What?
I just gotta go to the 2003 draft class. That entire draft class was putting together some terrible fits. Now I will say LeBron was able to pull us off. I think the all white looked really good, but you look at that entire 2003 draft class, it's all just such bad taste. You know what I mean? It looks terrible. All the just the big baggy suits that just are over. It looks bad. And I mean, the fact that an entire draft class got away with wearing that, dude, it
It's
ain't good.
crazy
That's all.
because this is such a stacked draft class.
It's one of the best draft classes of all time. I mean, what 84 and
Bosh,
96 are
Melo.
the only other two that might be comparable to that one, but like it's one of the best draft classes of all time, and they had some of the worst style.
It's so bad. They all the suits look boring. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's like they didn't even try. I don't know what Melo was going for on his. I mean, him alone could be put up on this list. Melo.
Yeah, exactly.
It's yeah, that's fine. I didn't think you were gonna go there, but I don't disagree with you.
It's bad, yeah. Like I said, LeBron's like the only one that's really able to pull it off. But even then, just the baggy look. I mean, yeah, it's weird. It's just a weird look. But hey, you got anything else for before we end the show, Danny?
I don't think so.
All right, I think we're chilling. Hey, this next week's going to be crazy when it comes to free agency. It's going to be fantastic to watch. I'm excited to see what the Suns are doing. I bet you're maybe excited to see what the Lakers are doing. Who knows at this point? But hey, it's going to be really interesting to see pretty much where the NBA sits after this week. But of course, we thank all of you guys for joining in tonight. If you haven't followed us on social media yet, make sure you check 94 Feet Show, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all that stuff. We got everything kind of popping off there. We got to get, yeah, you heard that. I was going to say, yeah, I messed that one up. But yeah, on TikTok, we posting stuff consistently. So kind of stick along with that, see what we've got going on, vote for Fit of the Week. And of course, like I said, we're doing a weekly show. So we'll see you guys next week. Enjoy your week, enjoy your day, and we'll see you around, big guys.